This is MC Fireside Chats, a weekly show devoted to the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Brian Searl and Cara Csizmadia. You'll hear from special guests that focus on topics to help your business succeed, all backed by Modern Campground, the most innovative news source in the industry.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of MC Fireside Chats. My name is Brian Searl with Insider Perks. We are missing a ton of people today. There's apparently this huge secret RV industry event that I didn't get invited to. Kurt didn't get invited to. Jason and Susan, I feel like maybe they just didn't invite the cool people. That's clearly what had to have happened, right?
That's it.
So apparently there's some kind of event. So we're missing our normal Shane, Eleanore. We're missing Phil from RVDA. And then we're also missing Kurt, who has a scheduling conflict, too, from National Parks Traveler. But that's okay. We're going to have an awesome show without them. And super excited to kind of have our RV industry outdoor rec focus show here again as we do the fourth week of every month. We've got Susan Carpenter, our regular guest from the RV Women's Alliance. And we've got two guests here, Jason Gossett and Curtis. How do you pronounce your last name? Hemmeler?
Hemmeler. Yep.
Hemmeler. Okay. So there's just the extra E is silent. So I'm going to cheat here. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves in a second, but I'm going to cheat and use my little script that Cara gave me and say Jason is from the Unhustle, Bustle, a family of newly full-time RVers. And so they're exploring the country aboard their bus conversion, right, Jason? Just traveled 2,800 miles. Yeah, you were telling me that before we started the show, from Orlando, Florida to Spokane, Washington. I got corrected.
I learned that as well.
Yeah. I thought forever that it was Spokane, but it's Spokane. And so, but he's also got 15 years of hospitality experience. Jason, do you want to just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll move on to you, Curtis.
Yeah, I've spent about 15 years in the hospitality industry, working for resorts, casinos. Spent this last year or so getting outdoors, just like everyone else. So I've kind of ventured out on my own, do some consulting work to add my value to the outdoors. Yeah. So I've got a lot of years in auditing. I've been an internal audit manager for about 10 years. So I spend my time with compliance, ethics, SOPs, digging in to the background's pretty deep. So just looking to add my value to the outdoors in this booming RV world.
Awesome. Well, super glad to have you here. I know we're going to dive into some of the things that you're up to and things like that. But Curtis, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Thanks, Brian. Name's Kurt Hemmeler. I am the executive director of the RV Technical Institute in Elkhart, Indiana, as well as the senior vice president of standards for the RV Industry Association. And my background started actually in the military, where I was a technician, and then moved into logistics for about 14 years. Left that and got into the school business, and predominantly in K through 12 and post-secondary, building trade and career schools across the country. And about 4 years ago, I was contacted by the RV industry to come in and build a school to standardize and professionalize the career path of an RV technician, both mobile and at a dealer.
Awesome. Well, good to have you, Kurt. Sorry, I had a ninja chop a bee there that was trying to attack me. That was what I was doing. So just so you guys know. Welcome, Cara. Glad to have you. Sorry to hear that your computer crashed, but all the things are...
Yeah.
Everything's going wrong today.
Oh, my God.
See? I just jinxed her. Everything's going wrong today except for Susan's audio is flawless.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm here.
Susan shows up. I love it. That's great. Great. It is without some kind of technical, failure or drama.
It makes it interesting.
So, yet again. Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, I'm late.
I think literally half of our audience, maybe 60%, just watches for the technical glitches. I feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah. It's probably not afterwards. That's good.
Super excited to again be here. We're going to dive into some things with Jason and Kurt here in a second. I want to just take a moment to thank our sponsor for this episode, which is CampSpot Software. If you haven't heard of them, they're a campground management platform, both staff and guest love. Kind of two parts to the company, right? There's the software that 1,700 campgrounds use to make their online reservations and all that kind of stuff. Super easy to use is what I keep hearing from people over and over again. And then they've got the new marketplace side, although it's a year and a half old now, so maybe it's not new anymore. but super easy way. They're kind of partnered with a few other companies. I think Rover Pass and a few other ones, and just really kind of a neat way to book your online reservations for campsites all over the country. So super grateful to have them as a sponsor. So let's dive into this. Where do we want to start? Let's start, you know what, Kurt, I want to start with you, because I honestly don't know as much about the RV industry as I do about the campground industry. That's kind of been where I've played the last decade plus. And so as we do these kind of shows, my whole goal here is to learn more about it. So tell me a little bit about, and for those people who are watching who maybe don't know either, what is the RV Technical Institute? What does it do? How does it function? Why does it exist?
Sure. So the RV Technical Institute is located in Elkhart, Indiana, for a lot of obvious reasons, being the center of the RV world. As I said, 4 years ago, the RV industry came together. When I say the RV industry, that's the manufacturers, the suppliers, and dealers, as well as Go RVing, came together to address an issue, what we refer to as repair event cycle time. The amount of time that it takes that you drop a coach off to be repaired to when it's actually repaired was exceeding well over 3 to 4 weeks. As a result of that, we also knew that there were close to 11 million registered RV owners out there, and that RV repair was in a critical state. We were short on technicians. We did not really have a professionalized, standardized program. And so they invested $10 million to create the RV Technical Institute. They found me. We put together the team. And in the last 3.5 years, we've been focused on creating a curriculum that is, as I said, standardized, professionalized. It has a career path. It allows technicians to come in and be fully certified. And this was new to the RV space. And so we've been at it for about 3.5 years. And I have a team of about 10 or 12 individuals that work in Elkhart and around the area. But currently we have about 6,000 students training across the country in the program, which we do know that to improve that time, that repair event cycle time, having more technicians as well as having better trained technicians will help to bring that number down, as well as some other variables such as parts availability and things. But that's the RV Technical Institute.
Is there in your mind, and I have another follow-up question, but just a brief one, in your mind, that 6,000 number, is that satisfying? Would you like to see more? Is that
it's just the beginning, Brian. I mean, it's I am proud of that number. The reason why I'm proud of it is because we've only been at this 3.5 years, and this was really created from scratch, and in just a short 3.5 year period, which some may say, well, that is a long time. Don't forget, we did have this pandemic going on. Don't forget that also this was something that really had not been done in the RV industry. Even though there was some training, it was a set of books and you took a test. The new curriculum allows you to take what you've learned, take a test, but then also apply your knowledge so that we know through certification that the individual can do what they say that they can do. And that hadn't been the case before.
Do you have centralized campus for that portion of the, or are they doing that in dealerships with
so the answer to that is them? No, the answer to that is actually yes to all of that. We do have the actual physical facility in Elkhart, Indiana. So anybody that's out in the area, please stop by. We will train, a few hundred individuals at that physical location over a year time period. But the curriculum was created to actually be distributed across the country, because that's really where it's mostly going to be used and taught. And from my experience coming from education, you really have to take the education to the person these days. You can't expect people to pack up their lives and come to Elkhart, Indiana. So what we have created is what we refer to as learning partners. Right now we have well over 30 that are all across the country. And learning partners are everything from a very large dealer group, such as a Camping World, a Campers Inn, a Fun Town, an RVR group. They're our learning partner. We also have a couple locations that are correctional facilities that are giving second chance folks their training on the program. We have high schools. We have community colleges. So The program was developed to be able to be distributed across the country to maximize the amount of participation by, individuals and students. So that's how we're, of the 6,000 number, just a small percentage that actually will go through an Elkhart. The rest of it's happening all across the country.
Fabulous.
Okay, so then my second question here is, and I had a follow-up, but it's just going to have to be kicked down the can because I want to ask something about what you just said.
Oh, sorry.
You say across the country. Is it also available, or will it, or can it be available in Canada?
Yes, it
Okay.
sure can.
Do you know if that's in process, Cara, or is there people? Cara's on the board of RVDA Alberta, so that's how I was kind of looping her in.
Yeah, no, I kind of shortage of techs up here, and campuses in the program on location, and so there's some each of the provinces kind of has different expectations for certification and things. So different areas of the country, and you have different levels of need. We have instances where there are all of the eastern provinces are, they have to kind of send their guys out west to get the training in, and thing to make that expectation. A lot of them have, young families or things like that. Makes that a really difficult thing to undertake, and so it's creating this. We have a serious shortage of trained techs in the causing kind of a big bottleneck issue up here too. So I imagine working closely with folks like Eleanore, Hamm and whatnot, specific their programs. I'd be excited to hear about it too, for sure.
Yeah. So 3 weeks ago, we just, along with RVTI and Kurt and Tracy over there, we did an all-female class, and we graduated 22 women, came from all different segments from all across the country. They were campgrounds, they were suppliers, they were distributors, they were from dealerships, and then we had about 10 of them that were from outside the industry that was looking to get into the industry, doing something like that. It was what we call our pilot classes. We kind of, decided who came and made sure it was well-rounded, because what we're going to do next year is we're going to go with RVTI, and we're going to offer it nationally in different locations throughout the country, and hopefully Canada. We do have Canada pegged for that.
Yay.
Where we can continue to do the all-female class, because one thing we realized was when you lower that barrier to entry and make it all female, they're more apt to come, because it's a little intimidating. It's not like men go out and try to intimidate women, but they feel a little bit more comfortable when they're learning together. Mm-hmm. So we were really excited about that, because the camaraderie and the excitement and everything that went along with it it far exceeded our expectations. I know, Kurt, you enjoyed it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I will say, just as far as training in Canada as well, there's a little bit of differences in the requirements, and Cara, you kind of mentioned it. There's province variances, so our program does not necessarily fit into where there's other certain requirements. I will say, though, and it's been going on for years, that the RVI, why you would want to attend the RV Technical Institute or one of our learning partners teaching this curriculum is because it's directly created by the industry, meaning that the people that put them together, the people that add the pieces, parts to them, are who went into creating the curriculum, which was built off of the standards that are built off of the safety to assure that the vehicles are safe out there. So it's important that you whether you're entering a school to become a technician or doing it for your own knowledge of running your own rig, that you want to do it through the RV Technical Institute or one of its affiliates, because of the fact that it was built by the industry. And it's the only program out there that was built by the industry for the industry.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Kurt, spinning off of that, there's a misconception that going into those classes is you're going to come out and be an RV tech, and that's the career choice. I think through what we realize, I'm sure you realize too, is we've got, people that worked in the OEMs did the course, and they did it because, and same with dealerships, not working in the tech side. Their service writers, warranty, and we actually had one that was just an operations manager, is they wanted to understand their customers better. And by understanding the RV better, they were able to service the customer better as well. Same with campgrounds. If they have an issue, now they can kind of talk the language a little bit and have a better, deeper understanding of what ticks in an RV.
Good point. Okay, so I have, and Jason, I want to get to you in a second, I promise.
No
I
worries.
just want to finish and wrap up this whole storyline we want to get to, right? So for those of you who are watching, and admittedly, most of our audience is campground owners, suppliers. Like, I think we're growing in the RV industry, but I don't think we're at the point where we have, a 50% split or something, or a majority of people who would watch the RV industry show, although that's probably my eventual goal. So for those people who own campgrounds, and obviously some of them are very aware of the RV industry and what techs do, but for those of them who aren't, let me just ask the dumb question on purpose. What is a tech? Why are they important? What do they do? Why should everybody care about this?
Sure. No, that's not a dumb question at all, Brian. Especially if you are with your family and you're out in the middle of somewhere, and you're trying to have a good time, you're trying to have some family time, and something breaks. A technician becomes very important, and a certified one is even more critical because, unfortunately, in the RV space for many years, certification is not a requirement a lot of times, and so it has followed kind of what I would call the housing industry, in that if Uncle Tom is a great renter, you call Uncle Tom. It's not certified, and it doesn't mean he's not good, but we're trying to professionalize this. And so what a technician is that person. If you think about your house that you live in, not the house that you live in that's on wheels, but the house that you live on that has a foundation, all the systems in that house, electrical, plumbing, heating, cooling, that's what a technician is going to learn. They're going to learn how those systems work. There's actually 7 key systems. We do not teach the engine part because predominantly that's left for the manufacturer, or also because only about 10% of all the RVs out there are motorized. 90% are towed. So that technician is going to understand all those systems. They're going to be able to come in and troubleshoot and diagnose. And if they've been certified, obviously it's been validated. They know how to get you back up and running. Something that Susan said, and I would definitely emphasize because I'm a technician trained as well in the Air Force. A true technician comes with certification and some years of scraped knuckles, busted up kneecaps, things of that nature, and time, basically, is what I'm saying. So, if you become an RV service technician, whether you're working at a dealership or you're working as an independent or mobile tech, you want to look for some certification, and ideally it would be somebody that is RVTI certified by the industry. But at the same time, when you come out certified, you're taking somebody that has never wrenched in their life, they're going to come out and they're going to be competent. But a true technician takes time and experience, and we're just the career path that we've developed gives the individual a lifelong career path, whether, and their learning is going to continue. So we teach the foundations, but as new technology, innovation comes out, it's important that they continue that education path. So that's a technician. And they said you can find them at dealers, you can find them as mobile techs. Yeah.
Let me ask you a hardball question, Kurt. Just put you on the spot for a minute. Why do I want to be, if I'm looking for a new career, why do I want to be an RV tech? There's so many choices.
Oh, gosh. How long's the show? Because I can go on for a long time. But no, the biggest reason would be, I think, if you want to become a technician, here are the things that you have to kind of accept. Okay. The nice thing about being a technician is there is a mistaken, and it's just natural to do this. When you think of technician, you immediately think of an auto technician. And when the reality is an RV service technician is more of a trades type positions, because you're learning electrical, you're learning plumbing, you're learning chassis and things of that nature. So, if you're the type of person that likes to work with your hands, if you're the type of person that likes new experiences every day, because today might be an air conditioner problem, the next day might be a heating problem, next day might be a chassis problem. If you're a type of person that likes to work independently, or likes to work in warm weather, cold weather, around the country, around North America, uh, you know, being a technician in a mobile capacity allows you to take your services anywhere that you would want to live or be. Um, you would also want to become a technician if you have the interest of doing a side hustle. The big thing out there now is side gigs and things of that nature. We have a lot of people that are becoming certified and they work as they need, or they work as they want, or as they work as they do campground to campground. Um, the one thing I can assure you is there's plenty of work with as many RVers that we have out there. And with the shortage that we had of technicians going into the pandemic, we are easily in the same situation as we was when we started. Now as things kind of slow down, I think we will begin to catch up, and we're heavy into recruitment, specifically targeting high schools, vocational schools across the country to educate the educators that there is this career path out there, because a lot of people don't think about it. But yeah, becoming a technician, it would be for all those reasons I just mentioned. And there's probably more that I left off, but those would be the big ones. And let me forget one big one: the money. That you can make a lot of money.
It's always nice, right?
I left the important one out. Yeah, we have job offers pending right now for $80,000, $70,000, $90,000, in different places across the country for somebody that's a technician.
Where's
that's
the
just
90?
Getting started.
I want to know where the 90 is. I don't care.
You don't have to look far. You just have to kind of, geographically, states of Texas, Florida, your big RV states typically pay more because there's more RVers and there's more of a shortage situation. So supply and demand, but it doesn't mean even if you live in Michigan, for example, $80,000 to $90,000 jobs as a technician is pretty easy to come by.
I have so many questions I'd like to explore, and we'll hopefully do that a little bit later in the show. But I want to bring in Jason because he's sitting there so patiently and so nice. And Jason, are you a certified bus technician? Can you repeat?
I am not, but piggyback on that, and it's like from a consumer standpoint, these RV techs, should feel and appreciated, because travel full time, run into people on the side of the road, or whether if it's an RV shop and they talk about difficulties, or we're members of a lot of social online groups, full-time families that, my wife is on the phone constantly just talking with other families and just, talking about their experience. Up, like you said, sitting on the side of the road is no fun at all. So yeah, it's we've, an RV tech, a good diesel mechanic, those are great people to have in your network for sure.
So Jason, how do you decide to just pack up, convert a bus, and go on the road?
That's a good question. Yeah, sell our house, and my wife and I quit our jobs. Like I said, I was a auditor for Resort Casino. My wife was a full-time elementary education, and we had planned something. We knew something was coming, and then COVID hit, and it kind of really just catapulted our plans. So pretty adventurous, and we were sitting at home watching everyone else online do crazy stuff, right? See the world and see these beautiful places and meet these beautiful people. So we definitely wanted to, throw our hats in the ring. So we're kind of a unique experience. We had children young. Our boys, we have twin boys that graduated high school and they went off to college. We also have a daughter that graduated preschool and was heading into kindergarten. We knew what K through 12 looked like. We sent the boys through it, so we said something a little bit different and get out and see what difference can do. So it's been interesting. It's been a great experience, and we've only been at it for about 6 months or so now. So there's definitely a learning.
How do you decide, like when you're planning this, right? How did you, for your family, decide that you wanted to? I don't want to buy an RV standard, right? I want to convert a bus. How do you go that direction?
My wife, she's she's pretty awesome and adventurous, and she has a background in interior design. So like being able to design the bus layout was very important to her. We've got twin girls, we've got our bunk beds. It's a beautiful rig that she designed. We put something out online, and we were contacted by a bus conversion company, and they were like, "Hey, we can help you. How serious are you?" So we jumped right in and haven't looked back yet.
Awesome. So was the long trip we're talking about taking, was that your first trip? Did you work up to that? How long did you plan that?
No, we worked up to that. So we kind of, my family lives in Florida, so we took a little bit from Orlando, Florida, and Spokane, and that's where we picked up the bus. So we kind of stopped along the ways, kind of spotted out some areas, did some research about where we'd like to hit up on the back. So we picked up the bus, and we spent 2 or 3 weeks in Spokane Valley. We spent a month in Idaho, Bozeman, Montana, which was just fabulous. That was a great campsite. I'm in San Diego, South. It's just slowly worked our way back. About 6 weeks working our way back to pick up our dog.
Awesome. So what stands out for you on this huge trip right across the country? Give me 3 things that you really were like, wow, I didn't expect to see that.
3 things.
Yeah. I mean, it can be 3, 5, campers.
Yes, the highways packed with RVs, right? People, they're moving. So it's awesome to see. It is really awesome to see just people moving into sites and just the community that's been built. We talked to a lot of people on the campgrounds, we talked to people on social media. Beautiful to see, like, everybody has kind of the common ground, right? They just want to just go around, see the country, and talk to just amazing people out there to be able to talk to, sure. So we spoke to someone.
I'm interested to hear about something. Oh, sorry. I think I have a delay.
No, you're good.
I was going to ask you about something we've kind of been talking about on the show for a while that's rated with me about continually bringing up. But as an RVer, what's your feelings about gas prices, and how does that impact your planning and your trips? Being I mean, here they've come down a bit, but with them being higher, and if so, what is it?
Right. Yeah, like I said, we see a lot of beautiful smiling faces on the road, and in camp, don't really see that. Everybody's just kind of frowning and just talking about it. We get a lot of people come up to me and say, "How much do you fill that up?" That's all. That's what everyone says. How long does it take to fill that? How much does it cost to fill that bus up? But yeah, it's kind of depressing at the pump, but we've pivoted a lot of changes, and you have to adapt to it. So like we try to be really positive, and just to be totally transparent. We gave up alcohol, so like we kind of gave up alcohol. So like we don't see the effects of gas prices, right? We flirted with being vegetarian quickly. More flexitarians. We're not full vegetarians. 80%. Just being able to make changes in your lifestyle and pivot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of balance, for sure. So we kind of just.
So does it impact to visit?
What's that?
Sorry, I said, does it when you're planning and setting out a route, does it impact or how long you stay in a specific park as opposed to maybe hitting the road for longer periods of time or more often on a bigger trip?
No, not really. We kind of set a destination that we're really interested in, and we really spend a lot of time looking through all the apps, just picking out stopping points. I'm going to go drive the entire way, and I'm new to this too, so I'm driving this 20-something thousand pound vehicle down the road, my house down the road, right? So we're just making these little stops here and there, but that's an important part of our planning is where are we going to go? Where are we going to stop? We've stayed everywhere from campground, Cracker Barrels to, Bozeman Hot Springs, which I throw Bozeman out there because it's beautiful because they got 12 natural hot springs, temperatures ranging 56 to 106 degrees. Like that was refreshing, right? Beats a Cracker Barrel any day. But like when Pop played outside of the Devil's Tower and a little, we've stayed everywhere. So it's gas prices don't really affect it. We're just trying to enjoy this. We made this decision and we're jumping full, all in and trying to stay as positive as possible. So, yeah.
I've got a question.
Well, that's great news. Thank you. I'm glad to
I
hear
have
it.
a question.
We encourage it.
The family side, yeah. So this always intrigues me. So you've got twin girls about, would you say kindergarten right now? So
I've
you're
got
home.
a 8th grader and we homeschool our 8th grader and our. Yeah.
Okay, so being that you're traveling along with homeschooling and they get to see the places maybe they're even learning about, I mean, kind of explain that experience and what do you think they're getting out of that? Because I find that really fascinating. And how difficult is it?
I'd say what, Brian asked, like, what led to this decision? And there's like so many factors. We even pinpoint one, 8th grade now. She was in 5th grade and she had to do a state, right? Draw a state, color it in, give us 3 facts. She chose Wyoming, drew a square, colored it brown, put like state capital, the size, and the state bird, right? She came home with an A. She was so excited. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sad, right? That's Wyoming. So that kind of planted a seed as well to kind of push that. So like I said, we went through Wyoming. We parked at a campground, went and walked up the Devil's Tower, and it's just fascinating. We've got their social studies books, and they just learn. If we're heading somewhere, they know where we're headed, and so they're doing their research and learning what the history of the state and what they're doing, and most about just interacting with the people that we cross paths with. We saw a father at the base of Devil's Tower, and his 16-year-old son's climbing it, right? He paid $750 to climb Devil's Tower, and he was paying. He gave us the whole story. He was raising money for charity, but he had to pay $50 because he got off of it. And it's just like, what, they're never going to forget that, right? Like the brown square, the class, right? They won't, but they're never going to forget. Oh, I love Wyoming. We're, Devil's Tower experience and all we saw. So it's just fascinating to see. Like, we've got family spread. Right now we're kind of doing a hometown roots tour, right? Like COVID ended and my parents living for 3.5 years. So we've been down to Florida 8 times in the past 16 months, right? So like we're going around checking on family members and making sure everyone's good and right and just reconnect. We're going to do we spent a month in my wife's hometown. We're planning on going through Alabama and visiting some relatives I haven't seen in 20 years. So and learning all the way, right? We do full year-round learning. My wife, like I said, she's got an education background, so she's really hands-on, and she's I can't praise her enough. She's a badass. Everything she does, like I said, she designed this bus, and now she's kind of designing the education system for us. Yeah,
Amazing.
On there, but
That's good.
I love the enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's awesome.
No, you're right. And there's a ton to learn, right? Individually. Like, I'm sure if your kids went to a school in Wyoming, they would know more than 3 facts about Wyoming. But when you're teaching outside of Wyoming, and most of these teachers haven't even been to Wyoming to see Devil's Tower to understand what it is and why, right? Then you kind of lose that. And
The mythological bear that scratches, all that stuff. My wife and I talked. We went to Idaho, went to Coeur d'Alene, and we're like, you know what? Idaho does not get the respect in middle school and high school. Kentucky, and I'm like, they taught us to stay away from Idaho. There's no reason. Right?
It's gorgeous.
You're like, this is beautiful.
I love Idaho.
It's amazing. It is.
So I'll throw an interesting fact in there. What Jason has just told this great story of his personally, I've probably heard similar hundreds of times as we travel around. We talk to different folks that are RVing. I mean, the story is very similar. I left this career. I'm doing this. We're traveling the country. In fact, part of our initiative is recruitment of new technicians into the industry is focused upon high schools and homeschooling, because that's a story we're hearing a lot. And, the price point that we have the education at right now to receive it is so reasonable because the industry is subsidizing it to help with the shortage of technicians, that folks are jumping in and they're using it as like I said, a side hustle where, one parent might be a remote worker in IT, the other one is a technician, and it serves obviously as an income, but it also serves as a good understanding to fix your own rig if something were to happen. But I do want to say one thing about the gas prices too. What Jason said is what we have seen statistically is that people don't stop RVing with gas prices. They might just adjust a bit and stay closer to home is the only thing we find. But we find very little impact into the actual event of camping or RVing. They still do it, like I said, just closer.
Or give up alcohol.
All right, which I gotta tell you, Jason, man, that is commitment right there, my friend. That is.
Yeah, I'm never doing that. I like my whiskey too much. I like sipping my whiskey.
My French fries will go before my bourbon. That's for
yeah,
sure.
There you go.
right.
No, it is though. It's an interesting thing. Go ahead. Sorry, please.
I was going to touch base too on something Curtis said. Working remotely, like the big you hear out there is, what do you do to make money on the road, right? If you can find and promote ways to make money on the road and educate, there's a lot on LinkedIn. There's some sites out there that really push it, but more opportunity. That holds a lot of people back for sure.
Yep.
Well, and you have a good segue here, right? That maybe you just built yourself. But so talk about what you do on the road for your career.
Yeah, well, we set aside a timeline. Like I said, we knew something was coming, so we're planners. I'm in a very personally finance oriented, so we saved half our income here because we knew something was happening. We knew we were going to push to get out and do something there. I'll be right there. Oh, you want to say hi? What's a bunch of people? If you hi real quick. Real quick. Do you want to say hi? You got to hurry, though. Just say hi. This is my daughter. This is Daphne.
Hi.
So she probably thought I was done. Say, all right. Love you. She just wants a snack. Sorry. Bus is off limits for this hour, so they're out running around some bean fields in Kentucky right now. So that's what they're up to. But sorry, I went blank there. What do I do? Yeah. We saved half our income, so we gave us a good travel period to kind of just casually do some work. So like I'm networking and individuals with campgrounds. I spent all my time inside this office with no windows, this little box, 7 years. I didn't know if the sun was out or it was raining. The pandemic came and sent me home, and I'm sitting out on my deck working, and it was beautiful. This is what I want to do. So like taking my indoor experience and kind of getting out into the world, and ideally just visiting campgrounds, secret shops, on-site reviews. Depends on how deep you want to go. I do gap analysis, and we can check your SOPs and see how well they're documented and implemented, and we're trained on. So I am a big believer in customer experience integration and stuff like that. And that's one thing we're going outside, and these campgrounds are blowing up. I just want to highlight. I've seen some few consultants. You got to address these risks and stay on top of these things, because like Susan was bringing up the fighting in Yellowstone, right? Behind that, who knows what that was, but anyway, that's a little
you got to explain it because nobody else knows what we're talking about.
Well, Susan found
this is the investigation phase of the show.
It was in his newsletter. And unfortunately, he's not here today to explain it, but his newsletter came into my inbox yesterday, and in Yellowstone, in one of their geysers, they found a foot and a shoe. The foot was in the shoe, nothing else. And that's, I clicked on his link to read his newsletter, and it didn't say it. They don't know anything yet, other than one of the park rangers found it. So stay tuned. Maybe next month when he's on the show, we can ask him what ended up happening.
Maybe he'll know. I think we could extend the show and let everybody go who needs to go, and we could just do a live investigation and do it.
Right.
Maybe check with Kevin Bacon. Didn't he do Footloose back in the 80s? Maybe they finally found the foot.
Man. It is a good question, though. Like, it really is fascinating, and we're not going to obviously talk about it right now, but it is fascinating to, like, how do you just get the foot? Because the geyser's hot, but it doesn't dissolve. It's not acidic, right? It had to already be disconnected?
They have no idea. I mean, people have died in the geysers. It said that. It said, don't go off.
But then your foot doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should move on to another subject. We're definitely not the expert.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead, Jason. Continue.
Yeah, just looking at, I'm trying to think where I was going with that, but yeah, just service standards. Service standards. I tune in and listen to you guys and other campground owners talk about those service standards are so important, right? So, training those individuals, having your SOPs documented, and everyone on here talks about industry best practices, so that's important. And I make sure, always emphasize that these, owners, people talk about, I've saw, and I'm not good with names, but Mike from CRR, the guy from Blue Water is really good. And, he's, talking about these, right? And I keep an eye on what they're posted and their positions and what their companies. And so it's awesome to, even though you're small and growing, but ignore those compliance efforts, right?
Yeah, and you're right. It all comes down to that kind of best practice industry standards type stuff, and it needs to exist. I mean, it probably starts at a higher level than don't let a camper lose their foot at your park. I imagine that's probably a common sense given thing. But so let's pivot here and talk about the interplay for a minute. And it was a question that I wanted to ask Cara, but she just kind of jumped off here for a second. I think maybe she'll be back. But the interplay, and Kurt, maybe you have a good idea for this too, just between dealers and manufacturers and suppliers and associations, and then the question folded in there is campgrounds too. How do we all work together on both the tech side and the travel side and the experience side to make all of this better from an RV perspective?
Sure.
RV owner perspective, maybe.
No, you asked the same question. As a person who did not grow up in the industry, only being in the last 2.5 years, that was the same question I was asking, when I first started. How do we bring this all together? Because at the end of the day, it's about having that RV or that consumer have the best experience. The last thing they want to be focused on is a campsite, worried about their camper working, their RV working, and so forth. So I will tell you that as the RV Industry Association and my president, Craig Kirby, who has spearheaded with campgrounds, we started a little over a year ago, just getting with campground leadership, the different associations that represent the campgrounds from the state level, from the national level, and trying to help solve, or make that experience better for the consumer. I will tell you this. I mean, we're a long way from where it needs to be, but there is definitely an organized effort through different meetings, different as associations coming together to try to help solve some of the issues. I will tell you personally, and Jason kind of alluded to it about, I find it, I think, whether a campground uses it as a revenue generator or they use it as a value add to their RVers, having a certified technician on staff or having somebody at that campground that has done good business for them, represented their campground well, is worth a lot of money. And so I've actually been over the last year talking at different conventions, state associations for campgrounds, making them aware of this resource that's out there. And like I said, it's literally $300 for someone to get certified right now, which is just an unbelievable price. The only part that's hard is you actually have to do the work, but you can do it online, you can do it in person, or a hybrid model. So yeah, I think we're hard at it. We're going to continue to be hard at it. I know my president is committed to the unification of the industry as a whole. And I know I've been a part personally of many meetings that had all those pieces together. And I will share also my board personally, my RVTI board, we're set up as a nonprofit, is made up of suppliers, dealers, and manufacturers. So they all have a voice. And I'm actually asking to add campground to that going forward because they haven't been a part, but I think they're an instrumental part. Because we can build an RV, that's great, but where do they take it? And we need to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, and historically, I've been in this industry for 35 years now as a supplier. Started off in the aftermarket, obviously, and then now I do aftermarket OEM. But growing up into it too, it's gone from this very small. Not a lot of people camped when I was growing up. I mean, you could drive to a campground and pick your site. My parents used to drop me off at the site and say, stand here. So you save it. And they went back and registered it. Right now, you're making reservations 6 months in advance. Right. That's how much it's exploded. And speaking to what Kurt said, I think as this industry has grown where it is, that need to bring people together, all the parts of the industry together, has become so needed. And RVIA and RVTI, which is the RV Industry Association and RV Technical Institute, for those who haven't caught on to that yet, but they're spearheading to move that needle, and it's just going to be nothing but success by doing that.
And I'll add something else to that folks aren't aware of. Every year, RV Industry Association has a couple different pieces, right? There's the whole Go RVing side of the house. There is the RV Technical Institute, which is really the baby that was just born 3.5 years ago. But at the core of the RV Industry Association is a standards team that actually goes out and inspects facilities 6 times a year unannounced. And there's also a very strong lobbying group that goes to DC every year. We call it RVs Move America. And to give you an example of how it's unifying is we're inviting campground folks also to be a part of this. And we're discussing how we can help push, the Outdoor Act, which got passed a few years ago. And all of this is helping to try to strum up federal dollars, state dollars to build new parks, to update parks. Because for the RVers out there, they know there's a shortage of parks. Our parks, we have not nearly enough parks to handle. If everybody decides, I'll just give you an idea. There's about 1.1 million sites, I believe. We did a whole survey about it 6 months ago. I think it was like 1.1 million total. Well, there's 11 million registered RVers. Hopefully not everybody decides to go camp in the same weekend. That just gives you an idea. We know we need more parks. So we're working with state, local, federal, working with the associations. Like I said, I promise you there's an effort going on. It's going to keep pushing the peanut a little bit more each day. But it is going on.
Yeah, we for sure see the effort. And Cara, I want to get your input on this. I'm glad you're back. Just kind of the interplay between how the things work together, because it seems to work really well up here in Canada, especially.
Yeah, we have a really close to our CRVA, which is our Manufacturers Association, and the Canadian Camping and RV Council, who I work for, and represents the campgrounds in this country. We've all kind of got a strategy, both, very similar to what's happening in the States with that Kurt mentioned, where our lobby efforts are unified. We make time and deliver our most important asks and messages, elected representatives, as possible every year. But we've also got great programs and partnerships, providing awesome member benefits and really supporting our kind of founders of CCRVC. Always talks about the three-legged stool, where we have the dealer service side, the management side, and we're all very, very reliant on one another, obviously. And so, if one leg strong, and so that's always a good analogy we talk about often. We have such a foundationally supportive and collaborative here. It's a great way to advance efforts for all of us, I think, going forward, especially like Susan said, where our consumers are really changing, demographic, the way people want to camp and plan their trips and all those things is really changing at breakneck speed, and that ability necessary, I think, to face all that change and remain as adaptable as this industry is.
So I want to thank you, Cara. I really appreciate that. Kurt, I wonder, and maybe you don't have the research or the time, and I kind of just ask you this question out of the blue, right? But it interests me. We've had a gentleman on who are going to do the camper extension for the Cybertruck, right? And some of these new electric vehicle concepts that are coming out both from the standard manufacturers and some new players into the industry. How does this impact the tech game? How does this change, or does it? But how do you go forward and continue to train people for, I don't want to call them legacy vehicles because they're not. They're going to be continued to be bought in large numbers, right? Mm-hmm. But the different type of vehicles that you've always been training people on, is there a course for RVTI where you expand that to include electric vehicles? Is that going by default to an auto dealership? Where do you see that going?
No, you're tapping into probably 25% of all the meetings I've had in the last year to year and a half have been wrapped around those exact topics. Electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, what's the impact? Because remember, as I mentioned earlier, my other role is head of standards. And so the way we create the curriculum is based on what the manufacturers are looking to do. The manufacturers are our direct members, suppliers are our direct members. And what the standards team will do is we will address as new things come to market. And they say, hey, we're looking to bring this in. First thing we're going to bounce against is safety to make sure everything is safe that they're going to produce. From there, that goes into curriculum. And then curriculum is rolled into, obviously, what the technicians will learn. The way the career path is set up is that there's level one. Level one is where you really learn all those major systems I told you about. It's about a 40-hour class, and it takes you through the 7 core areas. The second, or level 2 of the career path, is where you get into diagnostics and troubleshooting. It's a little more extensive. It's about 200 more hours of training, but collectively, about 200 hours to 225 hours of training. You get certified, and you are what we refer to as a functioning, competent technician. Level 3 is where you get into really the specializations. And this is where, as new technology comes out, and I'll give you an example of solar. Solar is a specific area that someone might specialize in. And that's where we rely upon our members, our suppliers, or our manufacturers that have this new technology so that the technicians can get that education. So as the new product rolls off the line, depending on their interest or the dealer interest or the need, a technician will specialize in that area. If that particular technology becomes, let's say, the majority is being built into rigs going forward, we will weave that into the core education, which is level 1 and level 2. So it's a constantly moving and evolving career path, but it's really in that level 3 where new technology, new things come into play, and that's where the technicians will go and grab and receive that education. But it all starts with the standards and what, educating the manufacturers, what's going on in the industry, what are we hearing from our different state, from our regulatories, and then we make sure it's safe, and then we put it into the curriculum.
Is there ever a scenario where you could see breaking that apart in the future to where somebody might not need to know all the things that exist in current RVs and maybe only could take a standalone electric vehicle course?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the level 1 and level 2 will always be like the bare bones. I want to become a wrencher, as we call it. I want to be able to go in and be a competent technician. Level 3 will be dedicated, and I have no doubts, and we already see it. Some folks will move through level 1 and level 2 so take a brand new high school student that just graduated, or they might be actually taking the class while they're in high school. They become certified. They come out and they say, I really love this electric vehicle. I want to become a specialist in that. They might just focus on all the classes that we bring to the table, and I could see a specialization just in that. They may not want to move to master tech. They don't care about getting into slide outs. They don't care about getting, that base knowledge was enough, but they want to specialize in this. So what I will say to education is it's always going to be evolving. As technology comes out and new things are done, we're going to make sure the technicians have it.
And that's what I think I was kind of going at, right? I think there's as we've discussed already on this show and in other shows many times, there's clearly a shortage of RV techs, and I'm not claiming to understand it as much as everybody else at this table does, but I'm trying and I'm learning. And so I can imagine a scenario in the future where there's somebody who comes out of, you're just talking about high school or college or whatever, and has a deep desire to like play with circuit boards and gadgets, but doesn't want to touch wrenches. Mm-hmm. And so then is there a point where they, maybe in the future, and I know this is speculation, can just say, I want to focus on that narrow window of RV specialization repair?
Yeah, I think there will be, bypassing the basics. I would always strongly discourage, because that has kind of been, I would say, where the industry has been over the years, right? They take somebody and they put them into a technician job and they have them repairing a roof, for example. Well, this person just last week may have been, working in some different field totally, and they didn't get that core solid base knowledge. And that's problematic after a while, unless maybe they got it from home, or grandpa or grandma or somebody taught them how to wrench. So what we're trying to do is address the larger masses of folks that haven't grown up wrenching like me, or maybe someone of my age or older. It just has, we took industrial arts, we took home ec, we took all these classes out of the high schools many years ago. And so folks did not learn what we all learned. And so we had to build it back in. And that's why I'm saying the foundations will always be good. It'll always be there. Can somebody go directly into, let's say, like I said, solar or EV? Yeah, I'm sure they can. And we will always adjust the curriculum to what is first safe and second in demand.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I did share your link here in the social media channels for RV Technical Institute, but do you want to just briefly tell people if you're interested in learning more, or you want to become obviously a tech,
sure,
how they do it, where they go?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So RVTI.org, like I said, we're a nonprofit. And I will tell you right now, it does not matter who you are. For $300, you can get involved, become a technician, become certified, or if you just choose to want to learn more. And if you've taken your rig to a dealer or to have something fixed, the going rate's about $150 to $200 an hour. So, for $300, you can probably pay yourself back pretty quickly with some just general knowledge. But yeah, RVTI.org. Also, I'd like to throw out there, if you're part of any organization, you're a campground owner, you want to see about getting a technician trained, it's $300 or it's $1,200. And if you have a facility, we'll train everybody in that facility. And it can be done online, in person, or a hybrid where you take some online and do some in person.
Awesome. Thank you, Kurt. Jason, I want to give you the same opportunity. Just if you want to give people, is there a place they can learn more about, obviously, your social media channels or website or anything like that?
You can find us on the Unhustle Bustle on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. My wife is interacting with anyone that's interested in following us. So,
Jason,
yeah, absolutely.
Jason, I just need to ask, is there literally anything you do, or is it all your wife?
Listen, she's pretty special.
Okay, like that's fine. We're just,
She's my, yeah.
I'm just messing with you, Jason.
That was good.
No, hey, I was a part-time tender when she met me. So, I got a psychology degree after I met her. So yeah, she's awesome.
She did it all.
So, yes,
Kudos to her.
She's gonna watch this. She's gonna
Nice.
she's awesome. She can do anything.
Awesome. Any parting thoughts, Cara?
Yes, build for sure. Like I said, on the he's got pictures of the bus build too. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I did try to look it up. I'm using Firefox. I forgot to go back to Chrome like we told Susan, so it won't let me share the window. I was going to share pictures earlier when you were talking, but definitely, yeah, go check it out. It's really cool inside. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, any parting thoughts, Cara? Anything else we need to cover or wrap up?
Gosh, I think we probably we've got majority of our guests. Well, some of our guests today missing because of an award today that's pretty exciting. I'm sure. I don't know if they've made an yet, so I'm not going to say.
Oh, so you don't want to say anything, but
yeah, but stay tuned. And anyways, some
it's just the five of us here. We won't tell
industry
anybody.
recognition. Right? Yeah. So, we miss those guys, but they're doing important stuff today. So next month. Otherwise, I think today, always great discussion. Sorry for my technical issues. Never can't be one show without it, but anyways, I
This is my
appreciate
first show. It made
everyone's
it
time
through
and
the whole thing. Yeah.
lucky.
Not any
Yay.
technical issues. Yay. This is like
way
the
better
first
with
try.
Susan.
So,
We should.
I think next month
Susan
we'll
gets
just
the
let
award
Susan
today.
host, and I just won't show up. So.
oh man,
Oh,
I had to go
gosh.
home for better internet without security system.
Yeah.
Yeah, you name it.
See, never fails. There's got to be some hurdles in the path for sure.
Right.
Can't be too easy. We don't want.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you being here, Jason. Best of luck to you and your family on the road. I think there's probably just the
Yes.
beginning of adventures. You're going to have a ton more to come, and maybe we can have you back on the show when you have a little bit more to share. Kurt, as always, thank you for being here too. RVTI, really, RVTI. I don't know if I keep pronouncing that wrong or it's in my head.
Nope, you're right. Yeah.
I felt like I said A, but anyway, Kurt, so excited to have you here just to learn more about that tech issue, the industry, what you're doing to solve it, and all that kind of stuff. Really grateful for you sharing all that with us. Susan, as always, from the RV Women's Alliance. What's the RV Women's Alliance website again, so they can check that out?
RVWA.org.
RVWA.org.
Yep.
Is there information for women who would like to become techs too, Susan? Is there a place they can go?
We're going to be announcing that in January. It's going to be, like I said, we did our pilot, so we're going to do a nationwide one. So we'll be making the announcement soon once we secure the sites and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be really great.
Make sure you send the announcement to Modern Campground so we can put it out there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, and then thank you as always, Cara, for joining us. I really appreciate it. So we will be back next week with I think it's our open discussion show. Maybe it's a fifth week. I don't know how many days are in August. It's summer.
It's the fifth week.
It is the fifth week. It's going to be terribly boring. It'll probably just be me and Cara. We'll see. I'm sure Cardi has some kind of guest for us. But super excited. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week. Take care, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for watching this episode of MC Fireside Chats, hosted by Brian Searl and Cara Csizmadia. Have a suggestion for a future show or want to see your campground or company as part of an episode? Email us at hello@moderncampground.com. Join us next week for another episode. And don't miss the latest outdoor hospitality news and commentary from around the world at moderncampground.com.